Good morning, ladies and gents. Welcome to a semi-new podcast in which we discuss Denver sporting news. We break down the games and we talk about what's to come for the teams we love, all through the lens of a bettor. This is the Denver Dollar, and I'm your host, Daniel Shalansky. Without further ado, let's get to it. So the Nuggets have a back-to-back. They were traveling this morning. They have a home game tonight against the Dallas Mavericks at Ball Arena. I apologize. I've been calling it the Pepsi Center as of late. Us Nuggets fans, know that that's kind of a weird transition for us. The Pepsi Center has been home to the Nuggets for so many years. Now it is called the Ball Arena, and it's hard to miss with all the ad placing of ball all throughout the arena. I saw a picture of a Avalanche hockey game recently in which they had ball 4 times on the ice all around the arena, and in one Snapchat that was taken, someone counted 33 different ball logo placings. So it's the Ball Arena. We should all get that through our heads, and I apologize for my recent calling it of the Pepsi Center. So tonight at the Ball Arena, the Nuggets have the second half of a back-to-back. They're playing against the kind of banged up Dallas Mavericks. The reason I say they're kind of banged up is because in their previous matchup, they chose to rest a bunch of their starters. They too were coming off of a back-to-back in their previous matchup, and we didn't see any Kristaps, and we did not see any Luka Doncic. Now, those two players are not listed on the injury report. If you Google Dallas Mavericks injury report, you can look at any different source. As of right now, the only player that is listed is Tyrell Terry, who's listed as day-to-day. Obviously, that guy who most casual NBA fans have not heard of is way less significant for the success of the Dallas Mavericks, as their two European superstars in Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic. Now, the Nuggets are still struggling with their, normal array of injuries. We will not be seeing any Gary Harris. We will not see any JaMychal Green. We will not see any Paul Millsap, and we will not see any RJ Hampton. That said, the Nuggets have still been kind of finding success with the squad that they have in place. The Nuggets are 5 for 5 in their last 5 games, and all 5 of those were away games. So the Nuggets are undoubtedly hot right now. So are the Mavs. The Mavs have won 4 out of their last 5 contests. Both teams are looking really good, and both teams have been doing it on the defensive end, I will say. Over that span of 5 games, the Nuggets are allowing only 102 points per game, whereas the Mavs are allowing 104. So both teams are doing it with defense, and the scoring differential is huge. Both teams are scoring a decent amount of points and playing excellent defense. Over that span, the Nuggets are scoring 117.6 points per game, and the Mavs are scoring 112.6. So both teams are, really hot. They're doing good offensively. They're shutting teams down completely on the defensive end. It's going to be a weird clash to see which of these two teams will reign supreme. With Luka and Kristaps being, healthy and rested, and they are going to be playing in this game, even though they are not, I'm not going to be able to report on any Mavs players because they haven't technically announced that they're available for the game. They are absent from every single betting card that you will find, so we will only be able to take prop bets on the Nuggets. But with those guys playing, I do think this might be a little bit difficult of a matchup for the Nuggets. Let's dive into those numbers that are available. The Nuggets roll in as favorites. The money line favors the Nuggets minus 124. If you were to bet on the Mavericks, you'd be getting plus 104. The spread is 2 points in favor of the Nuggets. If you bet on the Nuggets in the spread at minus 2, you're locked in at minus 108. If you bet on the Mavs, you're locked in at plus 2 for minus 113. Now, I know this exact line of logic came and bit me in the butt yesterday. I said the spread was 3, and rather than taking the Nuggets in any sort of money line, I decided I'm going to take them again in the spread because it's so rare that any NBA game is decided by less than a margin of 3 points, and I was especially, committed to doing that last night just because of how the Grizzlies play. They either get blown out or blow teams out. They've played the least amount of games that have reached clutch time in the NBA this season. It was them and the Milwaukee Bucks, I believe. So it made sense to, doubt that the margin of that game would be within 3 points. But it was a 1-point game, and that kind of bit me in the butt. I don't think that was necessarily a fallacy. I don't dislike the thought process. That's, bound to happen, and that's just what we, have to acknowledge as gamblers and bettors. But I'm following that same line of logic tonight. I would bet on the Nuggets in the money line, but I like the spread better. You're getting better odds with the spread than the 3-way money line or the normal money line. And a 2-point game is so razor thin that you would expect one team to win by at least 3 points. That's how things tend to go, especially with, fouling at the end of a game. If say the Nuggets are up 2 and the Mavs have the ball and they miss, the Mavs are going to foul them at the end of the game just to get another shot at it. And just with how that exact kind of function works, you would never expect a game to be within 2 points. So I'm taking the Nuggets in the spread for that reason. I'm also willing to take the under in this game, set at 226. Now, I know both teams have been tearing it up offensively as of late. Again, the Nuggets are averaging 117.6 in their last 5, 115.4 or 0.5 on the season. The Mavs are averaging 111.8 on the season and 112.6. So if you were just to take the sum of those two averages, either for the season or just for the last 5 games, both of those are going to be above this mark of 226. But you have to look at the defense that both teams have been playing as of late. Again, if you only combine the points allowed over the last 5 games for both teams, you're looking at a combined point total of 206 points, which is well short of this 226 margin. So I'm willing to take the under, and even kind of in addition to the logic I just presented, the Nuggets have only hit this mark of 226 points, combined with their opponent's point total. The sum of their point total and their opponent's point total, they have only reached this mark of 226 one time in their last 5 games. Now, the Mavs have only reached this one time in their last 4 games, and I'm not including the last game because one of them was a push. So in their last 5 games, 3 of them fell short of this mark, 1 of them pushed with this mark, and 1 of them was over. So the template is definitely there for the under, and this is a bet that I am confident in. So we think that the Nuggets are going to win. How can we parlay a Nuggets win and the under in a way to make us the most money? I am taking the Nuggets against the spread and the combination of that with the under in this game. That is the only parlay I'm willing to take for this game. I actually do think that both of those get fulfilled. This is a parlay that I'm excited for. That's locked in at plus 265, but I consider that exceedingly likely to happen just in terms of the way that both of these teams have been playing defense, and the general point total between them and their opponents have been very, low over their last 5 games. I'm not going to touch either the teams over or the teams unders. I think both teams probably hit the under, but that's, my thought in that is reflected in both the spread and the general under. So I feel like I don't need to bet on that. That would just be a little bit redundant. I might as well put more money into the bets that I already have. And the 3-way money line is minus 109 for the Nuggets, plus 118 for their opponents, and plus 1,400 in a tie. Normally, I love the 3-way money line. If you watch my show, you know that is my favorite bet, especially over the normal money line. But the odds are ever so slightly better for the Nuggets in the spread at minus 108 versus minus 109 in the 3-way money line. So I'm willing to take the spread instead. Now, again, the reason I take the 3-way money line instead of the normal money line is because Vegas way overvalues the likelihood of a tie happening. Here, a tie is only reported at plus 1,400, which is a step up from last night, which was plus 1,300. But realistically, in 567 games this NBA season, only 30 have gone to overtime. That's 1 out of every approximately 19 games. So I wouldn't touch this tie bet unless it were reflected at plus 1,900. Now, because Vegas considers it more likely to happen than it actually is, everything is inversely related here. Because they consider that more likely to happen than it actually is, they consider a team to win without the need for overtime less likely to happen than it actually is. So you're getting better odds than you should. Realistically, the 3-way money line for the Nuggets should be way closer to the normal money line. Right now it's minus 124 versus minus 109. I think that they should be a lot closer. The odds, it really bolsters the amount of winnings you would have if you just bet on the Nuggets and that the game doesn't go into overtime. It's exceedingly rare that the game would go into overtime, just a little bit more than a 5% chance. So, with all the popular bets being discussed, we're going to discuss player props. And again, we can only talk about the Nuggets because at the time of recording, no Dallas Mavericks are available to bet on in terms of player props. And the reasoning is, Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis will be available in this game. They are not reflected on the betting apps. You won't find them on DraftKings, you won't find them on BetRivers, and that is simply because the teams haven't announced that they are going to be active for this game yet. But why are there no other Dallas Maverick players? Just because these two guys are potentially absent, even though they won't be. The reason is because they are the most important players on the Mavs, and you will not be able to determine minutes without knowing whether or not they're going to play. If they weren't going to play, and it was, the betting apps in Vegas could be confident that they weren't going to play, then they would be able to put other players on the Dallas Mavericks on the betting card because they understand how the minutes work without those two players. There's been a template over the last few games that those guys have been absent, but Vegas doesn't know, so we can't bet on them. On to the first nugget, Jamal Murray. Now, I am not taking a single Jamal Murray bet in this game. He kind of hurt me last night. I lost all of my player props with him. Just when I thought he was returning to Bubble Murray, he's been having such a good month. Over the past month, he's averaging 3.7 3-pointers, 26.5 points, 4.9 assists, and 4.5 rebounds. He's been dominating. He's been playing like he did in the bubble. It was one of the best months of his career, really. He, kind of finished, he added to that, those point totals with a performance of 1 3-pointer, 3 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 11 combined points, assists, and rebounds. So it's really a struggle for him, and I think Murray really is just a hot and cold guy. Other people were saying he was the biggest fluke of the bubble. He was the guy who benefited the most. I really do think that he's capable of playing like that. It's just whether or not he's warmed up, and consistency is a big deal for him. And I think that the All-Star break really hurt, not his confidence, because he still took a lot of shots in that game. He went 1 of 14, I believe. So it didn't really shake his confidence. He was still shooting the ball a lot. He took 5 3-pointers. The issue was that it just kind of shook up his rhythm. He's a very rhythmatic player, and when he gets going, he is going, and the All-Star break really upset his rhythm for Jamal Murray. So I'm not betting on him because I don't know if he'll return exactly to the form that we saw as of late. Vegas is hedging that by a little bit. They're not quite having all of his totals as high as they previously were, probably due to his exceedingly lackluster performance last night out. So I'm not willing to bet the under because Vegas is kind of hedging there, and I'm not willing to bet the over because I know that Jamal Murray is kind of a rhythmatic player, and I won't start betting the overs on him again until he shows me that he is truly warmed up and back in his flow. So that's going to be it for Jamal Murray. No bets for him. I have a few bets for Nikola Jokic. However, I'm taking the over on his 3-pointers at 1.5. You're getting good value at plus 103 on the over, and I genuinely do think he hits the over. He's averaging 1.5 on the season and 1.8 over the last 30 days. Yes, he only hit 1 3-pointer in the last game, but against the Dallas Mavericks specifically, he's been scoring 2 3-pointers a game when he's been playing the Dallas Mavericks. So while I do think that he reaches above this mark of 1.5, the reason I'm willing to take it is because the value is in the plus at plus 103. It is absolutely worth it to take that bet. I'm also taking the over on his points at 26.5, locked in at plus 100. On the season, he's averaging 27.2. Over the last month, that's been trending up a little bit. He's averaging 27.7. In the last game, he had 28, and against the Dallas Mavericks in 2 games this season, he averages 29 points. So why you're getting better value with the over than the under kind of blows my mind, because all the numbers suggest that he would hit the over in this game, but at plus 100, that is another bet that I am not comfortable passing up on. And Nikola Jokic is locked in at 7.5 assists in this game. The over is locked in at minus 134. The under is locked in at plus 110. I am taking the under for Nikola Jokic here. Let me tell you why. Yes, he's averaging 8.5 assists over the last 30 days. Yes, he's averaging 8.4 assists, or 8.5 on the season, 8.4 over the last 30 days. In the last game, he had 7 assists. So in the last game, he was below this mark, but that's not necessarily telling enough. But the Dallas Mavericks have been a weird matchup for him. Against any team this season, he averages the least amount of assists against the Dallas Mavericks. They've played him twice this season, and in both of those games, he had 4 assists, which is his season low, and that happened in both of his games. I don't know what it is about them. Maybe they play great off-ball defense, but Nikola Jokic against the Dallas Mavericks has had to take on more of the scoring burden and less of the playmaking burden. So just because of the matchup, I'm willing to take the under, and the value is great at plus 110. The next nugget to discuss is Will the Thrill Barton. He's locked in at 3.5 rebounds in this game, and I'm taking the over. This is the only bet I like for him. The value is absolutely terrible at minus 150, but this is a bet that I would take all day long just because I consider it absolutely a lock. Sure, he's only averaging 4 rebounds over the season, but that's been trending up so much with the absence of all these other dudes. He's averaging 4.8 rebounds over the last 30 days. In the last game, Yeah, he only had 1 rebound, but against the Dallas Mavericks in both games, he secured 7 rebounds. So I think this is more, another bit of a matchup thing. The Dallas Mavericks are a jump shooting team, and if they are not hitting their shots, then, that lays the template for a bunch of different Nuggets to get a lot of rebounds. I like Will Barton to secure at least 4 rebounds. Minus 150 isn't great value, but I'm still taking it because I consider it as close to a lock as you're going to get. Now, I'm taking the over on Michael Porter Jr. points, locked in at 15.5. On the season, he's averaging 14.9. Over the last 30 days, he's averaging 14.8. But in the last game, he had 21. And in his one game against the Dallas Mavericks, he had 30 points. So he's heating up as of late. He played really well last time they played the Dallas Mavericks. Granted, he shot 6 of 10 on 3-pointers in that game. I don't necessarily think that'll happen again. But he was still 14 points above this, mark that is the over in this game. I like the over. You're getting the same value as the under at minus 110 in true pick'em fashion. I'm taking the over, and I'm taking the over in his combined points, assists, and rebounds, locked in at 24.5. I was close to taking the over on his rebounds at 8.5 for plus 110. He had 9 in the last game. He's gotten a ton of double-doubles in a row, and the same logic I just applied to Will Barton. The Mavs are a jump shooting team, but I liked this bet a little bit better than I liked, to his rebound bet specifically, because I think Michael Porter Jr. crushes this mark of 15.5 points, and even if he doesn't secure 8.5 rebounds, which is pretty lofty, it is significantly above his season averages, despite the fact that he's been securing that number pretty often as of late. If it's easier to surpass the points category than it is the assists or rebounds category, just because every basket is 2 points, whereas everything else is counted by ones. And I think that he will be able to surpass this mark of 15.5 pretty handily. And that means even if he gets close to this mark of 8.5 rebounds, he will hit 24.5 combined points, assists, and rebounds. I'm taking the over at minus 110. Let's discuss double-double threats, and then after that, we're going to do our patented tip-off analysis. So, Nikola Jokic is the only double-double bet I'm willing to take in this game at minus 286. I'm taking it. Those are great odds. That's even better than the last game, which he was minus 330. Let me do some quick math and tell you why you should take this bet every single time. So, Nikola Jokic at minus 286. If you bet $10 and you get it, you would win $3.50. Now, in 33 out of 37 games, that's a little bit more than an 89% hit ratio. In 33 out of 37 games, he has hit this mark of securing a double-double. So you multiply that by 33, you subtract your losings, which are $40, because only in 4 games he did not have a double-double. And at this rate, you would be up $75.4 if you bet that Nikola Jokic gets a double-double every game on these odds. So until the odds are bad enough that you would not be winning money if you took this bet every single game, I'm going to advise that you take this bet every single game. The odds are even better than last time, and he's averaging a double-double against the Mavs. He's averaging 29 points, 4 assists, and 10.5 rebounds against the Dallas Mavericks. Again, 89.19% of the time he gets a double-double, and the odds are not nearly bad enough for you to stay away from this bet. Now, I did think about taking Michael Porter Jr. I liked that bet. I think it was in 3 out of his last 4 games he's gotten a double-double, but I wasn't as confident in it, and I didn't love the odds at plus 225. I think that they would have to be a little bit better for me to want to take that bet. That'll do it for double-double threats. Nikola Jokic is a triple-double threat at plus 300. I've strayed away from the betting on Nikola Jokic triple-doubles. He was on fire in the triple-double category earlier this season. In fact, he was averaging a triple-double throughout the whole first month of the NBA season. At that time, I advised very strongly that you keep betting on the Nikola Jokic triple-doubles. He's really slowed down in that. He's normally just getting the rebounds and falls slightly short in the assist category as of late. So I'm not willing to touch that. I don't think it's good enough value to bet against it at minus 400, and I don't think he secures it, so I'm not willing to bet for it. Now, the tip-off in this game will be between Nikola Jokic and Kristaps Porzingis. Again, Kristaps Porzingis isn't technically listed as available for this game yet, but he's not on the injury report, and he will play. The reason he didn't play in the second half of that previous back-to-back was just because they wanted to rest their big guy. Now, Kristaps Porzingis, he didn't play in the last game, but in the 4 games before that, he went 3 of 4 on the tip-off. Now, this has been Nikola Jokic's worst stretch of the season. He's lost 4 out of his last 5 tip-offs. So, one of these guys is 3-1. One of them is 1-4 over the last stretch of games. Nikola Jokic also is falling short in the wingspan category by 3 inches to Kristaps Porzingis. And here's the big one that makes me want to bet on the Mavs to score first. It's that in the one game that they played against each other this season that Kristaps Porzingis was available for, Kristaps won the tip-off, and it wasn't even by that close of a margin. I think pretty handily Kristaps Porzingis wins the tip-off. Now, here is why this is such important knowledge to have. The Nuggets are locked in at minus 117 to score the first basket, whereas the Dallas Mavericks are locked in at minus 105. So you're getting better odds for the Dallas Mavericks to score first in this game, and we can be fairly confident that they're going to have possession of the ball first. Again, that'll give them every opportunity to score first. Last night, we said Jonas Valanciunas was going to win the tip-off. That doesn't mean we know that the Grizzlies are going to score first. We just know that it gives them an advantage too. We bet on the Grizzlies to score first, and they did. So far on the season, we are 20 of 26 in terms of tip-off analysis, predicting who will win the tip-off. Not who will score first, but who will win the tip-off. That's a 77% hit rate. So you can be confident in us when we say that Kristaps Porzingis is going to win the tip-off. I'm taking the Mavericks to score first in this game, and I love that bet. It was a little bit shorter of a show today because we were unable to discuss the Dallas Maverick player props, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope you place your money in smart places. I hope you're listening because we've been doing pretty good here on the Denver Dollar so far. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell all your friends about it if they love basketball, if they love the Nuggets, if they love betting, or if they just think I'm cute. Thank you so much. Bye.